such. Welcome back to the Lost Begotten channel, where I am doing a live recording software thingy, but it's not a live stream, it's just a record locally thing, and then I'm going to upload it. It seemed to work out okay. Today I'm trying to get the music less loud on the beginning scene. Hopefully you can hear my voice a little better in relation to it this time. And, well, I've done some stuff, as you can see. So, welcome to Fake TV's The Lost Begotten channel. I am your host, of course, Fake TV's The Lost Begotten. And, my head is there, and that's why I'm looking there. Because otherwise I would wind up, like, you know, doing something like that. So, don't think there's, like, some little alien over there telling me what to think and say. Because I know you fucking people that watch Alex Jones. Let me see your third wall. Y'all seen my third wall. It's a fucking marine fish room. Okay? I've made more effort than just about anybody to seem legitimate. Okay? Granted, I could take my time and make better quality videos. I don't really have that much time. It would limit the amount of content I can put out. But I thought maybe people would be cognizant enough to realize, hey, that means he's not a shill. Let's see, if I look at the little green dot, it looks like I'm looking into your eyes. Isn't this romantic? Anyways. So yes, welcome to the Fake TV show, where I alone seem to discuss real things. Imagine that. The truth. Actual understanding of things. Who the fucking thunk it? That's what I do here. I present to you clear evidence. Like clear evidence that these are Chechens. Chechens. And they were deployed from Chechnya. See that? That's in Chechnya. You know what they're doing in Chechnya? Well, they were having a big party. You know what they were celebrating? Their allegiance to Vladimir Putin. Why? Because he is a benevolent Muslim leader. And his reach is far. And when I say those Chechens are the ones who went to Syria and became Daesh, that's in Syria. Those are Chechens filming it. Those are the same Chechens that Kadyrov had lined up at his rally in Syria, using Russian tactics as they line up behind. And also the general demeanor of professional Russian soldiers who are battle-hardened and know when to and not to give a fuck. That's what I get when I see that image right there. But then again, your experience in analyzing these types of images may not be as extensive as mine. But then, most people who doubt me don't seem to realize that this has been on the left and the right for quite some time. I'm using a mouse. This hand is not doing well. So I'm just going to keep it on my crotch where it'll be safe. Okay. Anyways. It occurs to me that Mr. Larry Flint might actually watch this video, because I have once again called and left another message. And after I got off that phone, voicemail, I began constructing this image, and I very shortly ran out of space. But there are some things that I have previously published that I would like to add to this video. Most of those things regarding the root of the propaganda that so many people now believe. The Benghazi issue. That's where it all went wrong for Hillary Clinton, basically, especially in the eyes of the Republicans. Here you see that if you follow the money, that there was clear motivation for Russia to seek revenge against Hillary Clinton, as well as preempt her from taking power so that she could no longer interfere with their operations. Okay, Saddam Hussein, Kim Jong, Iran, Gaddafi, the Irish Republican Army, every terrorist organization that has ever been has been supplied by Russia. This is the fact. Even North Korea. You know, like for instance, here you have North Korean parade with modern Russian weaponry, North Korean parade with more modern Russian weaponry, North Korean parade with fucking modern. Okay, they didn't just suddenly copy it. This is the state-of-the-art shit from Russia. Okay, and that's where all their new missiles come from too. And if you don't believe that, I would like you to explain the following insignias to me. See, one was taken from a parade in Moscow, and the other is a zoom-in from one of those images I just showed you. Moscow, North Korea. Moscow, North Korea. Those troops in North Korea, those weren't North Koreans. They weren't even Russians. They were Mongolians. This is a much older thing than you realize. This war has been going on forever. And these people have been suffering for it forever. And Russia's claim to that area is something that is well covered up, barely referenceable, but nothing new. You know how I know that that's still not the right map? What are the chances that that shape would be the exact same shape as Kuwait? See that? Just doesn't seem likely to me. Seems like something somebody made up after the fact. Now, I will also say I've been tracking this for quite some time. The little date in the middle of that screen, as you can see, is transparent. That's not something I'm capable of photoshopping. I only have MS Paint. This is when I started to connect Russian propaganda with right-wing propaganda and realized that it was actually being sourced through the Kremlin, and that these were actually talking points issued by the Kremlin being repeated by the far right. And some mainstream, supposedly, Republicans as well. This whole thing has gotten vastly out of hand. And democracy itself is in extreme danger. In fact, as I said, I mean, democracy being in extreme danger, it's just not the half of it, okay? I was trying to warn you that democracy was in danger back when such warnings, you know, should have done some good. And, you know, the fact of the matter is, I've been warning about this for a very long time. Okay? Come out of my people. Come out of this whore of Babylon, my people. you do not partake of her sins, and receive not her plagues. For her sins reached unto heaven. God has remembered her iniquities. What I've been pointing out for a while is that while my warnings have been thoughtfully given, and they can be proven even unto this day, and they were given with signs and wonders in the heavens of limitless proportion. I have shown my consistent character throughout my past, even my childhood. And you have seen many miracles if you have watched this channel consistently. God has allowed me to do these things because the truth that I am trying to reveal to people is so desperately urgent for the survival of humanity. And that is all. We have been lied to for generations, left and right. Only the center, which coincidentally Hillary Clinton represented, is actually American. We are a country of centrism, not just a country of centrists. But we were a country founded fleeing the Horde. You know the Horde? Yeah, I was mentioning Mongolia a few minutes ago. But the Horde died. What? How long ago do you think before 1492 did the Horde die? How long do you think before 1492 did the Horde, the fucking Horde, the most massive, battle-ready anything ever, the conquerors of deception and fire. You'd think it's like 1,000 years before America, right? This is the Horde that we face this day. This is the Golden Horde. This is where Kadyrov, where Putin, where all of his friends are from. This is where the entire Russian mafia resides. This is called the Golden Horde. They are the founders of the Golden Dawn Society in Greece. If you can't see, Greece isn't that far away from the extent of their territory. And this Horde has been chasing us here and driving us against each other and trying to divide and conquer us since the beginning. St. George, who named himself for Georgia, which was named for an older St. George, who was a royal Bavarian and the son, or self-declared son of Medusa. Technically, he'd be Medusa's brother, later reincarnated. But, you know, I asked Mr. Flint, how far does he want this story to go back? I don't think it needs to go that far back. But the fact of the matter is, what I do is I try to prove how little people know. Because people know very little. And when a wicked and adulterous generation asks for a sign, they don't often see the sign that they want, but they see the sign of a man named Jonah. Which is, in my opinion, a biblical reference to an incarnate Poseidon. But what do I know? I'm just the guy who's been able to see the truth that everyone missed that cost them their country. And by the time you all realized it, one might think it was too late. I certainly do. Her family certainly does. Miss Heather Heyer. I will punch myself in the face the day that I fail to remember that name. And I can punch. So what's the deal? What does collusion prove? We've proven collusion. But collusion in what? Was it just an attack on our election? Or was it an attack on the American people? It was an attack on the American people, that much is obvious. The only parsing that must be done is whether that attack is treason by itself. I mean, no matter what, it's treason. But is it treason via racketeering, or is it treason by assisting terrorism? Okay? Because if you want to get away with not calling Russia terrorists, which is the only reason why this fucker isn't in jail already, then you need to say what they've done is racketeering. He assisted in a racketeering operation and did give aid and comfort to a foreign enemy, an aggressor against our allies, an aggressor against our treaty, who we were bound by treaty to defend Ukraine against. And I, being an honorable man, took my country's vow seriously, and I defended Ukraine as best as my cripple ass could. And I got left out on a fucking limb. Why? Because Facebook, Twitter, all of these different little places, they're controlled by him, just like RT was, just like Alex Jones was. And it's funny how Fox News got set up right as Putin consolidated power. Just like it's funny how CNN got set up just in time for the Cold War to end. We really are a country full of babies who just don't think strategically. You just don't think strategically. That's what's wrong with a country that doesn't believe in reincarnation. You don't think about the past enough. You don't study it enough because you don't really care about it. That's why the whole idea of reincarnation being presented as a cop-out by people who just want to commit sins and have another chance, that's fucking Russian propaganda. It has been from the beginning. Yeah. Root thoughts that so many people have. Basic thoughts that build people's personalities, even. 85% or more Russian propaganda. It's fucking disturbing to think about, but it's actually terrifyingly accurate. I'm an exorcist. First and foremost, of all the things that I claim to be, exorcism. My unending desire to fight and destroy demons and demonic people. Okay? I have and always had spiritual power, which negates my requirement for physical power, which, despite the fact that I am technically crippled, I am somewhat of a martial arts master, and I don't feel insecure in that regard. But the fact remains, I have, since early childhood, seen a problem with this world and committed myself to learning how to fix it. Now, most people with my IQ, with my general level of IQ, become astrophysicists. They become hackers who run a country. They don't become real estate failures. And yeah, being a con artist is not being successful. Being a con artist is how you sell your soul to Satan, because you're a shitty businessman and you're too selfish to admit it. That's Donald Trump, and that's who he sold his soul to. Now, I do apologize. You will need to view this in a full screen picture in order to view it, in order to see the text clearly. But what I have here is not the extent of, but an attempt at a visual representation that connects in old school FBI style a few different things. Namely, Donald Trump and his good friends Larry Silverstein and Alex Jones. Now, Larry Silverstein, the connection between him and the Trade Center is fact. He bought the fucking lease. He made $3.5 billion when it got knocked down, and has done many very shitty things since then, as far as the legal. I wish I could remember them and count them for you, but I can't. But there's more dirt on Silverstein, that's for sure. More suspicious activities, and if you watch him speak, he contradicts himself in his recounts regularly. Now, Alex Jones' connection to 9/11 is very interesting. Alex Jones made a career out of accusing the government, the United States government, which depended on the World Trade Center to enforce its diplomatic efforts across the world. Supposedly, our government took down basically a quasi-government entity. You know, like, as if they couldn't just, like, pass a law or something. And he also, with the cooperation of Fox News and CNN, made the American people think that the CIA had created the Taliban, which allowed many people to fall right into this conspiracy theory trap. The CIA did not create the Taliban. The Russians created the Taliban. The Taliban overthrew the government that the CIA installed 3 months after the CIA installed it and left. Now, Alex Jones has mentioned Larry Silverstein's connection to the Trade Center. However, since Obama's presidency, Alex Jones has not mentioned the name Larry Silverstein once when he talks about 9/11. This is because Larry Silverstein and Donald Trump are best friends. And as you know, Alex Jones seems to worship Donald Trump. Alex Jones also failed to point out, well, anything about Russia ever, because he worked indirectly for Russia. He is an FSB cutout. An FSB cutout, another FSB cutout, pretending to be an American, that helped Donald Trump get elected. Alex Jones is also a member of the Seventh-day Adventist cult and paid to build a church to memorialize the, quote, victims of the ATF massacre in Waco. Yeah, the David Koresh thing. Donald Trump may be a member of the Seventh-day Adventist cult, because he certainly repeats their propaganda. And the Seventh-day Adventist cult is a Russian psyop. A lot like many of the things that you're reading right now. Now let's just take it from the top row. In the 1980s, Russia helped the Taliban retake Afghanistan from the CIA-assisted government. Shortly after this, Wolf Blitzer, after much buildup of an army ready to invade Iraq and kick Saddam Hussein out of Kuwait, Wolf Blitzer reported that heinous crimes were being committed by all of, like, just en masse. There was just mass rapes and killings of civilians in Iraq. And that propaganda even got fed to the Iraqis. And they, in fear of the wrath of the results of that propaganda, left because they wanted to deny that they were doing such things. And while I am sure that, probably a few soldiers rape some fucking women here and there, that's what soldiers do. And I'm not defending it, but it's not something that's abnormal and not something that should be reported in the way that it was, especially when it comes to the way it should determine U.S. military actions. But at this point, during an interview with Wolf Blitzer on the floor of the Congress, a Republican congressperson told Wolf Blitzer, "What do we need the CIA for when we have CNN?" The CIA was humiliated, and the American military committed war crimes while the Iraqis were trying to flee Kuwait. And I, at that age, I'll admit, was cheering them on, as were most young American boys and overgrown American boys. Just, we were fed propaganda. Baby killers, rapists, kill them all, let God figure them out. We were victims of psychological manipulation. Psychological manipulation designed to bring out our worst. Sound familiar? Russia's very good at this, and they have been for quite some time. Now, it was after this time period that the American free press started to become referred to as the media, large part due to the way that it was promoting different media formats and trying to present itself as a modern, new, technologically enabled type thing. Although there are words like digital and entertainment that would have sufficed. Content. And last I checked, it was called the news, not the media. But in the early 90s, and even in the late 80s, it stopped being the news, and it started becoming the media. This all took place resulting in the consolidation of Vladimir Putin's power. These were all Vladimir Putin's plans. He gained power by the success of those plans. The more those plans succeeded, the more people bowed to him. This is how one maintains power in the horde. There is no other way to get power in the Horde. You might have heard of such um, arrangements when dealing with the Mafia. That's because the Horde and the Mafia are and always have been one and the same. Mafias were formed from leftovers of Roman battalions. I repeat, Roman battalions of the Horde. The Horde, by and large, had an easy time dealing with Roman retired armies that were up in, everywhere from Kurdistan to the Caucasus to Persia, because the Horde was never under the command of Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan is a myth created by the real creators of the Horde. The real creators of the Horde are referred to in the Bible as those who say they are Jews and are not. Referred to in YouTube conspiracy as the Khazarians. But if you simply look where Khazaria is, you find the root of Russian power. And you find what used to be called Poland, now called Ukraine and Georgia, and whatever all that other stuff is. Siberia. Yeah. Siberia is the name of any place they don't want you to go. Now, in the 1990s, as Vladimir Putin was consolidating his power, Rupert Murdoch, a supposed Australian, he happened to be from Poland, just like David Duchovny was supposedly Canadian, but he happened to be from St. Petersburg, Russia. David Duchovny, a part of the media empire that subverted the American people's opinion of their own government. Because after all, the truth is out there. And the CIA's trying to cover it up, right? Jeez. It all gets kind of different when you realize that David Duchovny himself and the entire production team was either from Russia or from, guess where? Poland. Their parents were from Poland, but they were from, quote, Poland. A guy named Jesus said something about beware of those who say they are Jews and are not. Pretty fart smeller. I mean, pretty smart fella. People should take into effect what's happened these days and realize that what's been written in the Bible has finally come true and is now clear as day what it all means. Now, after Fox News made its name for itself with the Monica Lewinsky scandal, who happens to be also from, Poland, and with her cooperation with Linda Tripp, who loved the United States government, and you could tell because she worked at the Pentagon. No, actually, she hated the United States government, especially hated the Pentagon, because her dad was cheating on her mom, and she lived a life of spite, and you can see it in the way she looks. People who think like trolls wind up looking like trolls. Okay, so read the rest of this for yourself. I may need to do a part 2 because I got to get going here. Think of all this stuff, absorb it, because I didn't even make all the connections that they need to be made. You'd have to listen to Rachel Maddow or something. Forget all that.
We're going to start tonight with the scoop from NBC's chief foreign correspondent, Richard Engel. It's about Paul Manafort, who was the Trump campaign chairman. Today we learned that the man who was the Republican Party chairman for the last several years, who was the Republican Party chairman during the presidential campaign, Reince Priebus, who of course went on to leave the RNC in order to become the first White House chief of staff in the new Trump administration. Reince Priebus, we learned today, was just interviewed by Robert Mueller, by the special counsel investigating the Russia attack on last year's election, and the question of what...
I tried to skip it forward, and YouTube being completely corrupted by Russia just went it to the end of the video, like it usually does. There's a very specific glitch that I've reported on and shown video evidence of that targets those kind of videos only. Now, around the year 2000, we had RT getting big, we had Fox News taking over, and we had Alex Jones come on the scene just in time for a certain event to happen. And then we had, on a disturbingly wide scale, media falsely reporting that the Taliban was installed by the CIA. But then, after that event happened, the Taliban is still using Russian military equipment, which, of course needs parts from Russia, and, having been installed by the Russians to begin with. They harbor Osama bin Laden, the person who attacked America. We made the mistake of trusting them, because apparently our politicians are too fucking stupid to believe anything but what they see on TV. Now, then we had a lot of things happen between then and the election. Some things that you don't know about was Russia deploying ISIL from Chechnya to cover up MH17 and their invasion of Ukraine, and Russia buying Libyan gas and oil in exchange for a base in Benghazi from which they could supply terrorism in Africa and Egypt, from which they formerly supplied terrorism worldwide through Gaddafi. We took out Gaddafi. Hillary Clinton helped take out Gaddafi, spoiling this deal for Russia, thus becoming their enemy. And that is the reason why they didn't want her elected. That a reason alone. He didn't give a fuck about the supposed election interference. It was never about that. This was about two things: Bill Clinton in Yugoslavia and Hillary Clinton in Libya. Anybody who tells you otherwise is either stupid or selling you something. Now, you all pretty much know what happened, what's happened since then. But now I hope you really understand what's been going on in the big picture. This wasn't an attack on our election. This was a concerted effort to overthrow the American government, and Donald Trump willfully colluded in that attempt. The only question is, will you let them succeed, or will you stop this invasion of America? Thanks for watching, everybody. Please click the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. I really appreciate you watching. And please, please, share my videos. Share the links all you can. Tell people they need to know this information. Thanks.
keep you by my side till the day I die. 'Cause baby, ecstasy is in my hand. Oh, when I'm holding yours in mine and walking in the sand. Oh, baby, you know it's fine. Now you done and me off. You ain't done something you shouldn't have done. Baby, I'm mad. I'm going on. Oh, I'm going on. I can't take it, baby. I can't take